These YouTube videos have been made by young people with learning disabilities. For young people with learning disabilities, they have been made to help young people who are moving on from secondary school to make choices about what they would like to do next. Each video looks at a different life area based on what young people have said is important to them when thinking about the future.
It would be good to know more about finding somewhere of my own to live.
There is a live stream about accommodation we can watch if you like.
Great, I can ask some questions too.
So my name's Catherine Whitfield and I'm a social worker and I manage a team where I help people to find places to live. So the first question I have here is, how do I go about moving on from where I live now? So what are my options? So there are options that you can do on your own. So these are, you can rent directly from a private landlord. These days, a lot of landlords will advertise places to rent online. You may have to fill in an application form and you may have to provide references from people who know you. And you'll also need to pay some rent. You'll need to provide the first month's rent. If you want to buy your own home, you can go to an estate agent who will have a list of properties for sale in the area you want to live. There's a lot to think about before buying your own home, like you will need to get a loan from your bank to buy the house, and you'll need to think about how you pay for the loan and also how you pay for your household bills. You can also put your name down for a local housing association. They sometimes have waiting lists depending on where you want to live. Their rents tend to be cheaper than private landlords. The way you do this is through something called the SARTH list. And the best way to get your name on the list is to contact your local authority housing department. So with any of these options, if you do need some support, you can ask a social worker about how to arrange this. So summing up, here's a reminder of the homes that you can find on your own. You can rent from a private landlord, you can buy your own home, or you can rent from a local housing association. And a tip here is to speak to your family or carer who can help you think about what's best for you. So the following options are ones that you'll need to speak to a social worker about if you need someone to be there with you 24 hours a day. So the first option is called supported living. In some areas it's called community living, and this is where you'll be sharing a house with other people and there is support provided. So this could be 24 hours support. In this case, you'll have your own tenancy, you'll pay rent and you'll pay your own bills. If you need help to pay your rent and bills, you can apply for benefits from the Department of Work and Pensions and for housing benefit from your local authority. The other option is to consider residential care. In this case, you'll live in a care home. The local authority will pay for this if you don't have a lot of savings, and you'll get a small amount of money to pay for your day-to-day living expenses like travelling. Another option is something called shared lives, where you share someone else's home and they support you with the things that you want to do. You need to pay rent to the person you live with and you need to pay towards the bills. And if you need help with this, you can also apply for benefits from the Department of Work and Pensions. In any of these situations, you might be able to get a direct payment to pay for your support. To find out more about this, you need to speak to your local social services department or your social worker. So in summary, here's a reminder of the options if you need support to live in your own home. So you can share your home with others and support will be there with you in that home, in that house. You can think about residential care and you can think about shared lives. A tip there, you might be able to get a direct payment to pay for your support. So who can help me find my own home is the next question. So the best person to help you will depend on the type of home you decide is right for you. If you don't want or need any support to live in your own home, you can ask people like your family or friends to help you look for a place to live. You can also go directly to a local housing association and put in an application for one of their properties, and sometimes often they'll have a waiting list. If you want help from social services, you'll have a social worker, and so it's always worth speaking to them. And if you don't have a social worker, then every local authority has something called a single point of access, and they can give you advice and also refer you to someone in the local authority who can give you more help. So in summary, so who can help me find my own home? So if you don't need any support to live in your own home, you can ask family and friends to help you. You can go directly to a housing association and you can put your name on their list. Or you can ask for help from your social worker, or if you don't have a social worker, you can go to the local authority and contact their single point of access, SPOA. So the next question I have here is, can I choose where I want to live? And they mean areas, I think. So yes, you can choose where you want to live, but it'll depend on what type of accommodation you need and where there are vacancies. If you're putting your name on the SART list in the county where you have a local connection, then they'll ask you where you want to live. Then it will depend on how many houses they have in that area. So if you have a social worker, they'll ask you what area you want to live. But sometimes the support you need or the things you might need in a house means there'll be fewer places available to choose from in that area. So if you have lots of support needs, it might be difficult for you to move to a supported living house in another area. This is because the local authority where you currently live may need to pay for your care and support. It's a little bit easier to move to another area if you want to live in residential care. So in summary, can I choose where I want to live? Yes, but it will depend on what type of home you need. If you don't need support, you can choose where to rent or buy a home. If you need support, it can be difficult to move to another county. You can move if you want to live in a residential care home. That's slightly easier if you want to live in another county. You need to have a local connection in the county you want to live if you're putting your name down for a local housing association home. And they may not always have vacancies where you want to live. So the next question is, can I live with my friends or partner? So yes, lots of people with learning disabilities choose to live with their partner. Learning disability teams always talk to a person about what matters to them and what's important in their life. And if you want to live with a friend who also has a learning disability, then you should speak to your social worker or learning disabilities team to see whether they can help you live together. So the next question is, will my friends or my partner be able to stay overnight? So it depends where you live. Some residential homes would not let you have other people to stay overnight because it might affect the other people living in the home. And it might also be against their rules. In your own flat, you would have to follow the rules of the landlord, and that is the person who owns the flat. Most landlords would allow other people to stay overnight. In a shared house, you would usually have every right to have your friends or partner to stay because it's your home, you're a tenant. So you would need to think about the other people that share the house with you though. They might not be happy to have a stranger in the house. So in summary, can my friends or partner stay overnight? It depends where you live. Residential homes may not allow this. In your own flat, most landlords will allow this. And in a shared house, you can usually have people to stay over, but you need to check with the others in the house that they're happy with it. So the next question is, how will I pay my rent and bills? And that's whether I'm employed, whether I've got a job or whether I haven't got a job. So if you're working and you don't claim benefits, then you'll need to pay your rent and your bills from your wages and any other benefits you get, like personal independence payment, which is called PIP. So if you're not earning a lot of money, you can apply for something called housing benefit, which may help you to pay some of your rent and council tax. If you're not working and living in your own home or supported living, you can apply to the Department of Work and Pensions for benefits and your local council for housing and council tax benefit. So what about bills in supported living and residential care? So in a residential care home, someone else will pay your bills for you, but you will only have a small amount of pocket money for yourself. In supported living, where you have your own tenancy, you'll claim benefits from the Department of Work and Pensions, and support staff will help you to pay your bills. If you need support with money and budgeting, you might have an appointee who claims your benefits for you and gives you that money so that you can do your own shopping and pay your bills. And for people who need a bit more help with their money, a family member or a friend or a carer can apply to the court protection to become your deputy. And that means that they would be able to claim benefits on your behalf. They'd be able to sign the tenancy agreement for your house, and they would be able to pay your bills for you and set up contracts for things like phones and things like that. So in summary, how will I pay my rent and bills? If you have your own money, you'll need to pay your own rent and bills. If you don't have a lot of money, you may be able to claim benefits from the Department of Work and Pensions. If you're claiming benefits from the Department of Work and Pensions, you can apply for a housing benefit to help pay your rent, and also council tax to a benefit to help pay your council tax. You still need to pay your own bills, and in a residential care home, your rent and bills are paid for you, but you'll only have a small amount of money left over. And last of all, an appointee or deputy can help people manage their money. So the last question we have here is, where can I get more information? So if you have a social worker, you can ask them for more information and they'll be able to help you. And if you don't have a social worker at the moment, then you can contact your local authority through their single point of access, their SPOA, and they will help you, they will give you help and advice, or they will point you in the direction of a person who can help you. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for all the great questions, and I'll see you soon.
Wow, that was really helpful, but there is a lot of information.
You can always watch it again or get in touch with a housing officer to find out more. There is a lot of hope available.
The videos were commissioned by the North Wales Together Learning Disability Transformation Programme. North Wales Together is a partnership between 6 local authorities: Betsy Cadwallader, University Health Board, the North Wales Learning Disability Participation Group, and the wider learning disability community in North Wales.